Hello, friends. This is going to be the start of my February vlog. I don't know if I will do the full month or if I'll just do like 2 weeks. For this vlog, I am going to only read books from my 26 books or 26 series list. I have actually already picked the first one. The process is I have a coin. We said the bulldog, Mac, was going to be heads, and on the back it says, "You make a difference." And that's tails. And heads was going to be books, and then tails was going to be series. Damien flipped it for me, ended up on series, and I had him pick a number between 1 and 26, and he picked 14. I started doing like a little reading journal, like a physical one, and so I have them all written down. It actually ended up being Emily Wilde, which I had started back in December and just like never finished. I picked it up like right before Christmas, and we were traveling for the holidays, so like it just got put down. That's where we're gonna start. We're gonna like do a little like vlogging-ish type stuff, kind of take you along on some other things other than books, just see how we do over the next couple weeks. There will be a couple exceptions to this just because I do need to get some of these books read before the pre-order, and I think the first pre-order is the 12th or something. I will probably be picking up at least one of those at some point during this. Other than that, I'm gonna focus on reading the books on my lists and hopefully get more done this way. I'm gonna go rebundle and go get some snacks, see what else I can get up to with the remains of my Sunday. Hello, friends. I am here with an update. It has been a couple days, so I've gotten actually a pretty good chunk of Emily Wilde read. This is a reread for me, so I am still really enjoying it. I loved it the first time I read it and just never got around to picking up the sequels once I had them. This is one of my favorite types of fae stories where they're a little more based on the folklore, and they're devious, they're cunning, they're cruel, they're mischievous. I wanted to update the other day after I had read a bit of this, and so we have one of our bedrooms set up as an office, and Bert is like my snuggle pal, and when he decides that it's time to snuggle, he's going to snuggle anywhere. He has decided that that includes when I'm sitting in the office in my office chair, and this is what happened. I'll put a picture up because I got several because he was adorable for like an hour and a half the other day, and I was just sitting there like, okay, and like I can't really reach for anything because if I lean forward too far, I feel like he's gonna just like shoot off my lap, and we can't disturb a cat. So that's why we didn't get an update the other day. And then yesterday I just had work and was very sleepy on the couch afterwards. And then I guess for people who don't know, this follows Emily Wilde, as you can imagine, and she is putting together a encyclopedia of fairies. I think she's a professor at Cambridge, and she is going to do field research on fae in this one specific Scandinavian-esque area. She goes there and somehow offends the people of the town and is having a hard time. And then like a week or so into it, her academic rival shows up, charms everyone, and she's like, what is this? He ends up crashing in her lodgings and all this kind of stuff. And that's like the beginning, like initial setup of the story, but she is also in search of the truly devious ones who like see a pretty thing and just take it. There's an incident where someone is taken from the village that Emily is staying in. They try and go rescue this person. It's actually two girls. It's just one of those like perfect for me stories. You love when you find those. Oh, and then the other thing that I was remembering was that Wendell kind of reminds me of Howl from Howl's Moving Castle, both book and movie Howl. He loves to be taken care of. He loves to be pampered. He has decorated the cottage that they're staying in because it was just bare walls, and he loves the creature comforts. And so he gives a little bit of the same vibes that Howl does, because Howl is super particular, also gets like really exasperated, especially book Howl gets like really exasperated at the stuff that Sophie does. And Wendell is kind of the same way with Emily. It's just a really cute relationship. The other thing that happened today is I got my copy, my thick, chunky copy of The High King's Tomb. This is the third book in the Green Rider series. These are hardbacks from Broken Binding. They have this under the dust jacket. Oh my god. And then these are the end papers. They are signed and numbered. I guess the design on the hard case is the original UK cover. Every time I think about potentially not getting the the next one when it comes up, I'm always like when it does, I'm always like, all right, like I won't make this decision today. Hi, do you want to say hi to the people? Look at this boy. Oh my gosh. He just came to fuss at me, and I think it's because he's ready to snuggle. Are you coming? Yeah. You gonna snuggle? There we go. Hi. So the other book that I'm in the middle of is actually High King's Tomb. I've been listening to the whole series as a re-listen so I can read the 8th book in the series. What are you doing, buddy? That's what I've been listening to at work. You gonna settle? No, all that and you're leaving me? Anyway, so I have been re-listening to the whole Green Rider series. I don't know if I want to take a break, maybe pick up like Bone Shard Daughter or something, because I've read the first 2, but I haven't finished it. And that's the current Broken Binding subscription book. So yet again, I'll decide when I finish the book. For now, I am going to go work on finishing Emily Wilde. And if I do finish it tonight, I will come back with another update. Otherwise, I will see y'all probably tomorrow sometime. Random ass side note. This is the Fairy Loot edition. I also got the box with the overlays. And this might be controversial, but I gotta say that while I love the overlays as an additional piece of art, like character art, scenery, whatever, just bind them in at this point. I have them in here right now. And if you even get close to the page that the overlay is in, it like shifts and is like sticking out either on the top or bottom or on the side. One of the new items that they've been doing in the YA box in particular is overlays for all these books. And I'm like, do I love extra art? Yes. But either put them in the book or like I don't know, like they're too wiggly. They're too wiggly. They need to stay where they're put. I put them in, I think it was The Floating World by Axio, and those shifted around too, but they were also, I felt like those were also like slightly too big. These aren't too big because I can fit them in there, no problem. But I felt like with those, I had to like really shove them in there into the binding, and they still stuck out on the side. For a couple ones like closer to the middle, I don't like that. Do I need to trim these with scissors? Why should I have to manipulate a special item that is supposed to be designed to go in these books? I shouldn't have to do that. That's just my little 2 cents about this. I do like the extra art though. Anyway, I'm gonna go read my book and stop talking. Okay, I am back because I have finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I enjoyed this just as much as I did before. I forgot a little bit that it ended exactly where it ended. There's mischief afoot. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Oh my God. What are you doing? So I am really excited to continue with the series. However, Damien did flip a coin for me again. Question was whether or not could continue in the series or pick something new. And it landed on pick something new. He flipped again for whether I would be picking from the books list or the series list. It landed in the books this time. He picked a number between 1 and 27. He picked number 8, which is Norwegian by Night. This is actually from my sister. I'm just borrowing it from her. This is a man who has agreed to move in with his granddaughter in Norway. One morning, he witnesses a dispute between a woman who lives upstairs and an aggressive stranger. He shields her young son from danger, and they flee. This feels definitely lit ficky, and I don't really do lit fic. This one is definitely one of the ones that I will be sending back to where it belongs because it's not mine. Hopefully, this is going to be an okay read for me. As always, I do reserve the right to DNF anything I'm not actually enjoying. It is kind of late and I have work tomorrow, so I am going to go to bed. So I will pick this up at work tomorrow. All right, so I have an update. Honestly, I read like a few pages of this and kind of skimmed ahead a little bit. I think I'm going to DNF it. I'm just not feeling it. So I was doing okay with this. I think I had a laugh on like page 7. He is a lot racist against pretty much all Asian people, because he thinks the North Koreans are out to get him. A lot of the people around him suspect that he has dementia. So like the racism starts on page 9. And he's like, all of these blah, blah, blahs are out to get me and I can spot them. And I'm like, I think you're just paranoid. I skimmed a little bit and was like, what is happening? This got a little more convoluted than I was expecting. I don't think it was ever going to be the book for me, but I was at least willing to give it a shot. My little coin is here. I think we're going to flip this time because Damien is stuck working right now. I'm going to remember how to flip a coin and not throw it across the room. I guess heads will do book, tails we will do series. All right, landed on heads, which is Mac, the little bulldog. So I guess we'll just do a little random number generator. We'll go 1 through 27 because I have a bonus one. All right. So 5. Which one is number 5? Oh boy. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once and Future King. I might have regrets on this. We will start with Once and Future King. Let me go unearth this book. Oh, look it. It's right here. Well, I found it. I did get this copy from a little free library in Boston when we were living there. Can we just talk about how small like, look at this. The text is so little. This is obviously magical epic of King Arthur and Camelot and Merlin, Guinevere, all of that. Oh my God. Is this really almost 650 pages? It's 639 pages. The Sword in the Stone, The Queen of Air and Darkness, Ill-Made Night, Candle in the Wind. So I guess it's like 4 novellas? I don't know. All right, well, I guess we'll start this. This is from the 60s, so we'll see how I get on. I will see y'all when I have an update. Hello, friends. We are gonna go on an adventure. We're gonna run some errands together. So I need to go to the barn. I set up supplements for my boys. Gonna check on them. It is pretty nice out today, but I have some other things that I want to take care of. And then I think they're also on daytime turnout right now, just because it's been so cold at night. If they are on daytime turnout, then I will just put eyeballs on them and then leave them alone. If they are in, then I might pull them out and we might hang out with them together. I do need to go to Home Depot. So we have a catio for the cats. One of them likes to use the space as his own personal outdoor toilet. He likes to lay in the dirt and it's just pee dirt. And so sometimes he comes in smelling like pee and we're like, buddy, we got to stop this. So it's just a wood structure. We're raising that and putting it on like concrete blocks and then putting some pavers on the inside. And I want to try and find sod. I think we saw some there on Friday. Like I saw a sign. I just don't know if they actually have any. So if they have some, I will get some. Otherwise, I might just be buying some fake turf, which is unfortunate. I don't love fake turf. There is some that is like nice and soft now, but I still don't love it. The whole point is to make it so he doesn't pee in the catio anymore. Oh, I was gonna go to Costco and maybe get some more carrots for the boys. That might be the other errand that we do. We'll see though. It's like 10:15. I'm already tired. We got up at like 8:30 to start working outside and I'm ready for a nap already. Let's get going and see what all we can cross off the to-do list. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Uh-huh. Bless you. Hiya. Oh, Fief. Oh, Fief. You're so funny. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. You ever been back here? What are you doing? What are you doing? Tommy. Yeah. I'm gonna do this. After this? Oh my god, are you saying shit? Go for the day. All right, so we are done at the barn. As you will likely have seen, we got to spend some time with my boys. It's really sunny. It's really, obviously you can see behind me, but it's so much warmer than it has been the last like 3 weeks. Obviously I'm just in a shirt and pretty comfortable. I was like, man, I wish I had time to ride today, but I think it's supposed to be even warmer on Tuesday, so I am gonna ride. I think I'm gonna plan on riding Tuesday. Let them enjoy the sunshine. Java was napping in the sun and they were both pretty happy, I think. Just hanging out. There's a college kid who will come and ride Fief every so often, and he's home for the weekend and was like, oh, are you gonna ride? And I was like, no, I have too much other stuff that I want to get done today. I was like, oh, if you want to hop on Fief, like feel free. And he was like, oh, can I do it today? And I was like, yeah, perfect, great, do it. I listened to a little bit of my audiobook. I do think I need to call Damien to get square footage for however much like sod and stuff we're gonna need. I'm gonna go pick up some stuff and head home. See you in a little bit. This baby has been loving just snuggling in my lap. He's so sweet. He's so cute. Oh, what's Pop up to out there? Yeah. Are you cute? You're just a sweet boy. Just a sweet boy. Yeah. Just making lots of noise, isn't he? What do you think? Oh, sweet boy. Hello friends. I am back with an update. I'm also realizing that I don't think I ever like closed out my day of errands and stuff on Sunday. So basically what happened is I finished up at Home Depot, got to Costco, and Costco was insane, you know, as it is on a Sunday, which is normal. And I was like, I have to go. I have to get out of here. I cannot be here. And I got home like right as Damien had a break in work. We basically finished up doing stuff outside, cleaned up the yard a little bit, got everything put back in place on Monday. I have not done much reading over the last couple days, so I started this and I was like, I don't know if I'm in the mood to read this. So I looked up some information on it, and it's basically 4 stories or novellas bound up into one volume called The Once and Future King. So the first story is The Sword and the Stone, which is what the Disney movie is based off of, and we both really love that movie. So I was like, okay, I will stick it out a little bit more, see if I enjoy this a little bit more as it develops. I don't know that I am. I don't know that I'm hating it. And it's a little bit one of those books where I'm like, okay, if I'm not hating it, then I should probably just read it because it's such a classic. I did find out that this was written, I think it was first published in 1938. It has fairly modern language for being published so long ago. Everything that I was reading said that The Sword in the Stone has a more comedic, funny, and I guess warm tone. And the other stories do not as much. I think the second story is Arthur's adventures with his knights. The third story is, I think, Lancelot and Guinevere. The fourth and final one is the downfall of Arthur and Camelot. I was like, maybe I will just read the first one just to say that I've read the inspiration for a movie that I really enjoy. And then if I get started on the others, I will probably at least try all three. I'll get as far as I can in the second one. If I'm not enjoying it, move on to the third one. Not enjoying it, try the fourth one kind of deal, just to cover my bases and make a good faith effort to get through. It's fine so far. There have been a couple moments where I've laughed a little bit. So far, it is generally pretty lighthearted. There are definitely some funny moments. Because I've seen the movie so often, I can picture the characters pretty well. Or at least that's what I'm picturing in my head. We'll see how it goes. I am also almost done with Black Veil, which is the fourth book in the Green Rider series. That's the one I've been listening to, and I listen to it to and from work and like while I'm driving, and then while I'm at work if I don't have anything that I need to fully pay attention to. I do also need to pick up The Prince Without Sorrow. The pre-order for the sequel is coming up on Tuesday, so I might have to put this down, and depending on how I feel about this at the time, I may or may not just like call it quits. It is Damien's birthday this weekend, so we are doing some stuff together on Sunday, so I probably won't be reading much on Sunday. I'd like to at least get a good start on it before I order. I did also get The Demon and the Light in the mail today. This is the sequel to The Floating World by Axio. I don't know when I will be able to pick this up, but I am very excited to get back to it because I really enjoyed the first one. I don't know if it impacted me as much as The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. It was still just a really enjoyable time. I'm gonna go get cozy on the couch and read. I am joined by a bean and by a noodle, just having cozy time with my boys. Hello everyone, I am back with an update. So I finished The Sword in the Stone, which is the first story in this, and then I finished, I think it was The Queen of Air and Darkness, which is the second one and is only like 100 pages or so. I think I've decided that I'm gonna call it quits here. Part of me is like, no, you should just try the next two and like maybe I will before I get rid of it. Sword in the Stone is what the Disney movie is based off of, right? Like loosely based on. I can't say I had a great time with the first one either. Like it was fun, partly because I love the movie and partly because it was like kind of like really fever dreamish. It felt like it was a little bit more of a series of vignettes than any sort of consistent plot through the whole story. It's basically just a bunch of stories of the wart getting turned into different animals as he's growing up. In the movie, he gets turned into a fish, he gets turned into a squirrel, and he gets turned into a bird. In the book, he gets turned into a bird. Like, okay, so in the movie, he gets turned into like a sparrow or something. In this one, he gets turned into a merlin, which is some sort of like, I think it's some sort of like small hawk. I have not looked it up, so don't quote me on that. He goes like into the muse and is talking to like the hawks and the peregrine and he also gets turned into a fish. He also gets turned into an ant. He gets turned into, I think it's turned into a badger. I think it's turned into a goose. Basically just like stories of him like his experiences being these animals, and like what he learns from each of their societies and how they govern themselves and how they live, how they, you know, like what the animal society is like. There are several moments that are really funny, and there are several moments where you're like, oh, I think we're getting a message, I think we're getting a theme, I think we're getting some deeper lesson that's being discussed here. And a lot of them I feel like you just don't get enough time with any of them. So it's like you start getting into these ideas and like you start getting like something learned here by the wart, but then it transitions into something else. Like the discussion goes in a different direction. He stops being whatever animal he has been turned into. And I think part of that is is a way for the author to show that none of these lessons are sticking for him and kind of have a discussion about it. He's still so enamored of being a knight and going on quests and battle and war and jousting and all these things without really knowing the impacts of them that it has on him and the people. There's just an air of ridiculousness about everything. Yeah, do you want your window? Yeah, there we go. There we go. We just needed. But a lot of this just felt like a really weird fever dream. Like, especially when he got turned into an ant. They're like fascist ants, or like super aggressive ants, like very propaganda driven ants. There were actual moments of humor and fun and goofiness outside of the lessons and the like fever dream of it all. And it was like at least semi-enjoyable. But then I get to the second one, and I was already thinking that I maybe wanted to end with Sword in the Stone, but I was like, you know what, let me just try this one, see how it goes, and make a decision then, because I know there's going to be a tone shift. I just want to see how much of a tone shift there is. It was not one that I appreciated. So at the end of Sword in the Stone, Arthur is king. And he's like in the early years of his reign here. It starts off with these four little boys talking to each other, talking about like the King of England is the enemy of us. Downstairs, their mother, the queen, who is supposedly a witch, is boiling a black cat alive. And that is maybe 10 pages in. And it wasn't, oh, she just boiled a cat. It went into detail. And then it moves on to scenes with Arthur. And he's talking to Merlin up on the battlements after a battle, or like up on a lookout tower. And he's talking to Merlin, and he's like, oh, that battle was great fun. And Merlin's like, you sure? He's like, yeah, we won. And Merlin's like, okay, but what about the men who died? And he's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess it wasn't fun for them. This is like the mythical king that we idealize, whose reign we hold up as some sort of like paragon of virtue and chivalry. And then it goes back to the four brothers. They're tying up a virgin kitchen maid and putting her in the woods so she can lure a unicorn to them. And then they see it and they kill it, and then they butcher it and just drag the head home to their mother. I don't need to be here for this. I just don't. This did spark a really fun conversation with Damien and I about the books that we read in high school, because I had several friends read this in high school. Based on like your level, you were on like different curriculums. I know we did a unit on like chivalry and things like that, and I can't remember exactly what we read. I'm thinking we might have read like Gawain and the Green Knight or something. So like that was like a nice discussion that came off the heels of this book. But otherwise, I think I'm real good. And now I'm a little bit wondering, I have Le Morte d'Arthur, which is what this is like loosely based off of, but that one was written, I think, in like the 1540s, so I don't know if that will just be like really stylistically different, certainly probably humor different. Now that I'm thinking about it, I know that I have several more books based on Arthurian legend beyond just Le Morte d'Arthur. Maybe what I'll do is read like a chapter from each. I got this from a little free library. This might end up back in a little free library. I just don't know where one is around me. I finished that Saturday. I read a couple chapters of The Prince Without Sorrow, and that is what I'm going to read now for a little bit before bed. The pre-order for this is coming up tomorrow morning, so I'm reading that ahead of the pre-order to make sure that I want to actually pre-order it. But so far, I am enjoying it. I am leaning towards yes, just based on the pages that I've read, but we'll see how I do. I think tomorrow is also the pre-sale for the new Fairy Loot editions of Ember in the Ashes, so that's also exciting. Anyway, I'm gonna go read more of this book. I am gonna turn this around and leave you with some more Nap and Noodle. I feel like I've been making really incredibly slow progress on physical books this month. If I don't have to jump immediately into another pre-order read, I will select another book from my Booker series lists and hopefully make some more progress on those. I feel like I'm going really slow on these. I have made more progress in audiobooks. I'm almost done with the 5th book in the Green Rider series, so I'm making like major headway in audiobooks and I'm having a really great time with those, but I'm also like, I really just wish I could just sit here and listen to these books. I feel like I have a major backlog of audiobooks that I want to listen to. I'm just having a really good time with those in like such stark contrast to the Once and Future King. At least I'm getting some duds off the list early and not having them linger. Bean, what are you doing over there? Yeah? What are you skibbity papping? Hmm? What do you have? Yeah. Oh my goodness. What are you getting? All right. Well, here's an Albert. Oh, did you get something? What'd you get? Oh, you found your ball. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to zoom back out of this. I'm going to show you an EP noodle. And I'm going to get to reading. So, I will check in again soon. Probably tomorrow. All right, so this is basically the same position we were in yesterday. Except I have a Cecil, and I have a short update on my reading. So I finished Mirror Sight today, which is book 5 in the Green Rider series. I've been listening to that on audio, and I finished that today while I was at work. There are a couple things about this 5th book that kind of bother me. I think the biggest issue that I had when I first read it was that it is just such a big shift setting wise that it just feels like kind of disconnected from the rest of the series. I do think that's a little bit intentional, but at first I was just so confused about what was going on, like why we were here. Now that I've read it a couple times, I'm like, oh, okay, I get why we're here, why we're doing this. Oh, hello. Oh, you get settled? Yeah, there we go. Oh, what a sweet boy. Hi, baby. Oh my goodness. Got that double snuggle. So I finished that. I did start book 6, but I'm like 20 minutes into it. I am like 115 pages into The Prince Without Sorrow. The author's note says it loosely takes the arc of Emperor Ashoka and reverses it, pushing it upon a fictional prince bearing the same name. It adds magic, witches, nature spirits, and a smattering of Buddhist philosophy for good measure. So we have Prince Ashoka, and he is a pacifist living under the reign of his father, who is very much not a pacifist. And then we have Shakti, who is a witch. The overarching tenet of the witches is do no harm, but it's broken down into 4 main rules, and they are do not curse, do not manipulate, do not harm, do not kill. Like, not curses in like swear words, curses in like I put a curse on you, in case that was unclear. She has some righteous anger, is learning how to use a sword. The book opens with her aunt, who has been her caretaker since she was little, getting burned, and then her village getting slaughtered because they harbored witches. After the massacre at her village, she follows the emperor and his soldiers on their way back to the capital city. She sees him, and like she's just so filled with rage. She decides, she's like, you know what? I know that this is something that I've been taught my entire life not to do, but it's justified. And so she curses the emperor. And in the process, she somehow connects his consciousness to hers, but his body dies. And so there's this upheaval in the palace. Ashoka and his 2 older siblings are dealing with the fallout, like both grief-wise and politically, after the reading of his will, which is where I just got up to. I did go ahead and put in my pre-order for the sequel. So I'm engaged when I'm reading this, but I don't know that I am fully invested or interested when I am not reading. I do really like the setting so far, and like the magic system, like the little bit that we've seen. I'm interested to see where this goes. I don't know that it helps that I am like in the middle of this Green Rider series and having a really good time with it. I do think it is a really digestible read. Like when I am reading it, I am getting through a lot. Oh, I did also pre-order the new Iron editions of An Ember in the Ashes from Fairy Loot today. I just got A War of Wyverns, which is book 2 in A Language of Dragons series. I don't know what the series name is, if there is one. I don't know if I have mentioned this before, but I was really excited. So last year was the first year I started asking for arcs. I got the arc of The God in the Gumio, which is by Sophie Kim. I got The God in the Grecian, which is the sequel to The God in the Gumio. I think I said something in my review about like, oh, I would read anything Sophie Kim writes. The publisher reached out and was like, hey, do you want to read her new book, like her next book? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, I do. So I have that. Anyway, I rambled for way too long. I am once again in the same spot, coming to you with an update, also with Cat in my lap. I read another 100 pages. I am 200 pages into this book and I'm still enjoying it. It's all very surface level so far. Like there hasn't really been a ton of discussion on history, like why the emperor hated the Mayakari, what the former leaders and emperors, like what their relationship was. It's just not quite as complex as I think it could be. I don't know if this is YA or not. I don't know. One thing that I do really like is that everyone knows that Prince Ashoka Ahsoka is a pacifist. People know where he stands. Like, he's not secretive about it. He's not like your typical, I'm going to behave like a callous asshole, but then secretly I am like on the rebel side. Like, he's not doing that. He's just very openly against what they're doing. It's kind of refreshing. I am going to try and read a little bit more, but I am getting a little bit tired. I am going to the barn tomorrow. Maybe I will bring you guys to the barn tomorrow. I think I'm going to have a chill day. It's supposed to be really warm tomorrow. Like, it's supposed to hit 70. So maybe I will give Java a bath. I did go get more peppermints because I ran out. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'll turn this around and give you one more last look at this Cecil man.
Steve, you're fine, buddy.
We made it. Oh, good boy. Good job, buddy. You gonna try and get the other side, or are you gonna leave it at that? What are you doing? What do you think? You ready to go back home? Oh, hi. Hi, handsome. Okay, let's go to your house. Wait. Look, he's waiting. Here you go. Hi. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Are you happy to be reunited for the whole 55 minutes that you've been separated? Yeah. What do you think? Is he okay? Is he cleaner than he was before? Is it all better now? Oh my goodness. That's why it's all over your mouth. You goober. His poultice is all over one side of his face. It's because he keeps rubbing on it. Yeah. Hiya. Now you're relaxed? All right, well, it's not your turn today, Fief, but it will be soon. Probably a few more weeks. Uh-huh. See, you're so excited. See, you're so excited. What are you doing? Oh, yeah. Get a nap in the sunshine, buddy. Whatever sunshine there is. Yeah. You're so spicy. Hi. You want my get the mint? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Thanks for talking to him. Thanks for talking to him. What do you think? What do you think? Should we? Y'all. Oh my god. Oh my god. What are we doing? I'm just licking. Travis over there, like, what is happening? What are you guys doing? Yeah. You gonna roll again? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hi, baby. Yeah. Look at. Oh. Yeah, you can see where you got poultice under his chin. Jaffa. You rolling again? What are you doing? Oh, good job, buddy. Good boy. Yeah. Good job, baby. Yeah, I know you can do that, but you don't have 30-year-old knees. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, don't bite me. Don't bother him. Ah. Stop. Java, you're fine. You're bothering him. Cut it out. Yeah, look at that poultice on him. Oh my god. Yeah, it's all down the side of his face. Yeah. All right. Hiya. All right, I'm gonna go clean up, and I'll come say bye. He must be looking at some birds outside or something. What do you think, Bean? Is there something exciting? Here we are, not in the same spot on the couch. It's going to be like a mini update. I went to the barn for lunch today and just gave Java a bath, which you will probably have seen. It was successful, except for the fact that at one point the warm water ran out, and so I had to finish rinsing all the soap off on one side with cool water, and it was like not quite warm enough for that yet. He was displeased. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I listened to several hours of my audiobook today. Let's check. I'm like 35% of the way through. Anyway, what? What are you up to? Oh my gosh. What are we doing? What are you doing over there? What a good bean. Just a goofy boy. Anyway, I will probably switch to Prince Without Sorrow once I'm back on the couch. There were another couple announcements for books that I'm going to need to read before the sequel pre-order comes up from Fairy Loot or Illumicrate. I think I did say already that I got The War of Wyverns from the library, but then I also got The Rebel and the Rose, which is the sequel to The Dagger and the Flame. I also got that from the library today. Luckily, those are ebook, so I can just like zip through them a little bit. It's a little easier to zip through them at work if I have time than to like actually have a physical book. I will see you guys in a little bit, hopefully with Albert. What do you have to say for yourself? Hmm? Don't lick my chips. Albert, those are my chips. What do you have to say about your... Why must you knock my... Hmm? Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to share with the... Get out of my chips. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Albert. Well, come have some water. Come here. Come on. You dumped all the water. Here. You're a menace. All right. Will you hit the button? This one. Yeah. Hey, sweet boy. I have finally finished A Prince Without Sorrow. I have really mixed feelings about this. It wasn't bad, and there are a lot of like really cool concepts in it, but there's just a lack of depth in here that kind of just bothered me. I don't know if it would have bothered me as much if I hadn't been reading like a much more complex and like really intricate story at the same time. I don't know if this is classified as YA or not, but it definitely feels more on the way YA side. And there's this really interesting dichotomy of the prince who was raised by a cruel father who wanted to expand his empire and was not averse to the bloody expansion of it all, is a self-avowed pacifist. And then we have a witch who was raised under the tenets of like do no harm, who doesn't necessarily believe in those tenets. Like she's not gonna allow herself to be bullied or hurt. And Shakti especially acting in a way that like very obviously diverges her from the beliefs of the group. And then you have Ashoka, who is the prince, starting to reckon with the idea that like maybe he is a little, at least a little bit like his father in some of the things that he does later in the book. That's really interesting. I don't think there is as much of a discussion of that or like exploration of that in this first book. I do think this is a trilogy, so I suspect it will be potentially discussed in the second book and, you know, potentially through the third book. The other thing that bothered me is that neither of these characters know how to tell a lie to like save themselves. Like there's no sense of subterfuge at all. It's almost a lack of self-preservation at a couple points. The spirits do feel a little bit like Princess Mononoke-ish, but then Princess Arya feels kind of like Azula Light from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Ashoka is partway between Zuko and Aang because he has been scarred by his father and his father hates him, but he is still like pretty pacifist like Aang is. So it feels at least a little bit like that. And I'm interested to see where the story goes, but I don't think that I need the special order. So I think what I'm going to do is cancel the special order for the sequel and just get it from the library when it comes out. The other thing that bothers me about this is that there aren't a lot of highs and lows. Like it's like very steady kind of, oh, like blip, here's an event, blip, here's an event, and not any moments of like super high tension or like low moments of like dread or sadness or anything like that with any of the characters. And for some of the characters, especially Ashoka's siblings, they feel a little one-dimensional. I did start War of Wyverns from the library, and I have made a lot more progress with my audiobook. So I'm close to 70% of the way through, I think. I do have to say that this is the book where I was like, does the author even like the main character? Why do we do these things to her? But it is really good to have this review of the book. Can I just remind myself of like what's going on and all the specifics? It's still such a good time. Oh, and back to War of Wyverns. It's going pretty well so far. I'm about a quarter of the way through, but it's pretty engaging so far. Yeah? What are you doing? I have a bean. I have a bean. There you are. Hi, sweet boy. What goofy creatures. But yeah, so I need to double check that I don't have anything that is part of an upcoming pre-order that I need to read. If I need to, I will read whatever book that is. Otherwise, I will come back and we can draw from one of the lists. I do, in fact, need to pick up the Courting of Bristol Keats before the pre-order, which is I think on Thursday. And then I updated my reading journal. Let me turn this around. So on my overview page, I have incoming year and how many I've read from that each year. And I only had it through 2023 because that's when I started getting book boxes. And so I was like, okay, like I actually have some from 2021 and before 2020. So I was like, okay, let me add that. I added some extra columns to be able to track that in my reading journal. And then I updated the physical book flow. So all the books that I've pre-ordered. And then I marked down a couple of the library books that have come in. Did that, definitely got distracted checking emails and stuff while I was doing that. I do also have an Albert who is very much cinnamon bunned. Look at this sweet boy. Just look at him. Just a napping baby. Ugh. Yeah. Love our sweet little snuggle bugs. I think I'm about to get drunk. Yes. Hi. I have a sesame. Oh, good boy. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Look at this baby. Look at these biscuits. What are you doing? What do you think? You're just the sweetest boy. Don't bite it. Don't bite it. Cecil. No biting. No biting. No biting. Don't bite it. Cecil. Don't, don't touch my fingers. You are so funny. You're so funny. You're so funny. All right, well, that wasn't the update, but that's much more entertaining than the actual update. I mean, unless you guys are ready for a rant, because I finished I finished this book. I meant to do some updates while I was reading it, but just like never really got around to it. The long and short of it, don't bite that either, Cecil. This is not for chomping. Oh my God. Anyway, this book was terrible and I did not buy the pre order. The longer version is that this is about a girl named Bristol Keats, if you couldn't tell from the title. It's her and her three sisters. They live in this small town and they have lost both of their parents within the last year, I think. It's been really hard for them. They do own their house, but it's been really hard to like make ends meet, pay bills, send their youngest sister to school, all that kind of stuff. But they've like been like holding it together a little bit. And they keep getting letters in the mail from an aunt of their father's. And they're like, well, our father grew up in the foster system. Like he didn't have family. This has to be a scam, but they're hard up for money. And so Bristol goes to meet them. Turns out it's a group of fae who think she has some sort of ability to help them do something back in the fae world. In between their first meeting and when she goes back to be like, yes, I'll do this, but we have to make a deal. There's a lady who's kind of like the town crazy lady, it seems like. And she tells her that her father was actually kidnapped. And so she's like, I will come help you if you help me find my father. What she doesn't know is that these people have sought her out because they know who her father is. They have some sort of grudge against him and they've been hunting him and want to like bring him to justice, so to speak. They don't want to keep him alive after they find him. So she goes, and obviously the dark broody prince is the love interest. Let me talk non-spoilers and then I will put a cut to give spoilers. So when I first started reading the book, it was pretty enjoyable. You know, it seemed like a pretty simple, like straightforward story. The writing style was easily readable and engaging, but there were a couple of things that I was noticing where I was just like, this is odd. And then I finally was able to put my finger on it. And it was essentially that there are no transitions between scenes. The beginning is pretty straightforward because you're in the small town, you're getting all these scenes in the small town. Once she agrees to go to their world, the next chapter, all of a sudden she's just there. And then you get like a little bit about her journey, but it's not like you don't get told how anything works in getting there. You don't get told how long it takes. That continues for a lot of the book. Like you don't even really get why they need her, why they want her until like 130 pages in. And yeah, sure, this is like a 550 page book, but I feel like you should tell me this before I agree to do this. Like, why do you need me to come do this thing for you? And like, yeah, there's something in it for me. You don't get that until well into the book. And even then, you don't really get a lot of details. So that was just really frustrating to read because there were like no transitions. There's no explanation as to like why we're doing these things, what the desired outcome is. She goes into this like training academy with other recruits and it's like, why are these other people being like, you figure out why other people have been recruited, but it's like, why do they have to go through all this training? And then there are like these parties that they have to go to every night. Why do they have to go to these? And then I hated the relationship. They're super antagonistic to each other. He knows that he's looking for her father, but she doesn't know that he is like hunting her father. So she starts asking people if they've seen her father, if they've seen any of the things that took him. I think I'm gonna have to put like a spoiler cut here because I think the rest of like my beef with this book is going to contain spoilers. So you find out more about the conflicts between kingdoms and more about her parents. So I do have one more non-spoiler topic before I do get into spoilers. Her entire life, Bristol and her family have never stayed in one place for longer than like a month. Like their parents never talked about their pasts. I guess now I'll get into spoilers. Towards the end of the book, you do find out more of the bigger picture of like her parents' relationship leadership and other conflicts that are going on in between different kingdoms. Every 100 years, a new ruler is selected, and they are pretty close to that selection process. And the current king is loosing an undefeatable army across the lands. So he's clearly the big bad that she is presented with. It turns out that her mother somehow ended up in his court years ago. She can control this demon army. He can control it because he controls her. Before her parents left Elfheim, she was part of this king's court, and then he was part of the male love interest's court. You find out that her father was snatched as a baby, and he was little enough that he couldn't tell them where he came from, so he ended up just being fostered in Elfheim. And you also find out that Bristol's father and the MMC were former BFFs. They get drunk together. They're like, oh, the monster of the Darklands is supposed to be super hot. It's rumored that she takes mortal lovers, and because you're mortal, you should go fuck her and then kill her. And it's basically a drunken bro, you should shoot your shot and then kill her. So he does exactly that, and he's like, actually, you know what, I want to hit this every day, let's escape. And she's like, you know what, I think we should do that. So they do. There is a discrepancy in the way time works in our world versus the Fae world. In our world, 23 years have passed. In the Fae world, it's been 6 months. Clearly, you know where this is going. They're former BFFs. The dad gets mad that his former BFF is now fucking his daughter. The entire time, I just kept waiting for her to discover his duplicity, trying to redirect her from actually being able to find her father. It just is enraging the way that he treated her. So then when she finally does discover all of this, she hears her father's story and is mad at him because she's like, why didn't you tell me about these things? She gets mad at her father because she's like, you were going to kill her? And he's like, yeah, but clearly I didn't. So she gets mad at her dad for that, which I get, keeping secrets, keeping her in the dark about their history, about their heritage. But then she turns around and confronts all of these other people that have kept her in the dark, and they just gaslight the shit out of her, being like, well, you're unpredictable, you're his daughter, so what's to say you're not exactly like him? And she's like, what do you mean? You asked me for help because you knew I was his child. It was so hypocritical. They were just like, oh, well, you can't be upset. And then she's also pissed at him because they've been sleeping together. It was just so infuriating to watch this. So I stayed up late last night finishing it, and I closed it and was just like, what the fuck was that? Why did I finish this? Then there are two nitpicky things that kind of piss me off. The first one is that during one of these training sessions, they have to go through this maze. It was during a training session, and they were going through this maze. There are obstacles, and the maze moves. It doesn't stay the same. Mind you, it's him and his other knight commanders and the other recruits and everything. And he's like, okay, everyone has to do one more time, and they've already been going at it for a while. And she's like, I think we're done for the day. And he's like, okay, well, you get to do it twice then. And she's like, the fuck, I have to? What do you mean? He looks at the other recruits and is like she realizes that he's gonna take out his frustration with her on them. And so she's like, okay, I'll do it 3 times if you make it so no one else has to do it again. And he's like, okay, done. And there was some line about how she realized that he wasn't gonna back down because he couldn't be told no in front of anyone else. If it was just the two of them, it would have been fine. But because he was in front of other people, it would undermine his authority. And then a few chapters later, they're alone together, and he's like, oh, we're going to do some drills. And she's like, okay, great. They start sparring and fall over, and he's looking like he wants to kiss her. She's like, why don't you act on this? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Get up, we're going to do it again. And she's like, nope, I'm good. I'm leaving. And he's like, get back here. And so I was glad that she finally grew a backbone and stood up for herself instead of acquiescing. I was like, you should have just done that the first time. And then the second incident. So the reason that the love interest is king right now is because his older brother was kidnapped by the other king that has the demon army. And so they go to some all kingdom event, and this other king shows up and wants to dance with Bristol. And she's like, okay, I'm good. One dance was enough. She tries to leave, and he's like, you're done when I say you're done. And she snatches hair from his head. And I guess they found out in one of their magic classes, or she had been told separately, that if you get a person's hair and say a specific spell, you can see through their eyes. So you can see where they are. So she snatches hair off of his head and is like, you can look through his eyes to see if your brother's still alive. They watch through his eyes, get proof that the brother's alive. And then later, they do the same thing to her. She gets a note in her room being like, hey, come to this location. And it's a note from her father. And so she goes to meet her father. They use it basically to spy on her, to spy on her whereabouts. And I'm like, okay, first off, why didn't you burn your hair when you knew that this was a thing that could happen? And then second of all, that's such a violation. If they're willing to use the tactic on this other king and then turn around and use it on her, they have like no scruples. And also it's an indication that they don't consider her an ally, because why would you do that to your ally? Needless to say, this book was incredibly infuriating. At first, it was only a little frustrating to not have the insight on why we were doing these things, how things were being accomplished, and just having that transition between scenes and events and just getting a little more depth to the world. At times, this world just felt like it was such a mishmash of all the other Fey realms. That was my initial problem, but then everything else became my big problem. I did not get the sequel because this is awful. I haven't even gone to look at reviews yet, but I am so excited to read some of the rant reviews. It did save me money because it's money that I didn't spend. I think I'm going to have to jump straight into A Song of Legends Lost after I finish War of Wyverns, which I should hopefully have done, and then I'll be able to jump into that. That one is one that I was really excited about last year when I got it. I'm going to go read about it, and then I'm going to probably swap to my book. Is that a good basket? Is that a good basket, Bean? Yeah. Okay. This is going to be our final update for the month. Somehow we've made it to the end of February. It is actually March right now. It just feels like incorrect somehow. Bean, I don't think that's how you're supposed to do this. That's the side. Uh-huh. Okay. You're so funny. I guess I should update you on all of the books and stuff. After I ranted about The Courting of Bristol Keats, I totally forgot to mention. So, you know, when you're scrolling through Instagram and you get an ad for some random KU book and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, what is it? And you go check it out and you're like, maybe. And then you pick it up and you're like, oh, maybe not. So it was a dark merman siren romance. At one point, he has injected her with some sort of like venom. It's making her feel some kind of way. It is, in fact, making her feel wanton and wicked, not wanton and wicked. And it's funny because the author corrected it and like used the correct word like a page or two later. I took a screenshot and I'll put it in here. Hello. Why are your feet so cold? Oh my goodness. Hello. Are you just gonna sit? Oh my gosh. Okay. You can't get in there. There's nothing. You can't get in there. There's no in. Are you? Okay. Okay. What? Okay. I don't. There's nothing to get under here. Albert, that's my shirt. That's my shirt. You can't get in. Are you, Albert? Hang on. Here. Lift this foot. Okay, here, lift this one too. Do you need to go under the sweatshirt? Albert. Here. Are you just trying to get under? What are you doing? This is... That's the only... Okay. Hi. You can't get get in there. You can come under here. You're such a nut. Come on. You're so goofy. You're so funny. We'll go snuggle at Dad's computer in a few minutes, okay? Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't know where the mic went. Hey, baby. Can you? Oh, never mind. Sunday, I'd made plans to hang out with my sister. We also went to Kinokuniya together, and I will show you what I got. Damien really likes Chojin X, so I got him volumes 10 and 11 of that. He's taken them off somewhere. I ended up getting volumes 12, 13, and 14 of the Apothecary Diaries manga. And then I also got volumes 4 and 5 of the light novels. I did also get a bunch of stickers because I was like, oh, well, I started doing my little like baby reading journal and it's really fun. All the stickers are in with my journal and like other supplies, so I will show you those later. I don't know when I will get to filling out February. I'll record when I do like a little update for that and show you all the stickers I got then. Stay tuned, I guess. And then I also got a couple like blind boxes because they always have really cute ones. Oh, hi. Oh my gosh, there you, Albert. Stop that. Oh my gosh. Okay. My little biscuit man. Anyway, I finished A War of Wyverns and really enjoyed it. Hi, baby. Oh my goodness. Oh, buddy. Hi. You're about to fall down. Oh my goodness. You're so good. Look at this baby. Hi. Oh my gosh. What are you doing with your feet? Just need you to look at this little Pete. There you go. We get a very different adventure from the first book in A War of Wyverns. So I'd gotten it from the library in an effort to be like, okay, I can get this from the library before my pre-order from Fairy Loot comes in. And I can be like, okay, do I want to keep the pre-order? Which I ultimately decided to keep it pre-order. I don't know that there's a lot that I can go into without spoilers from, especially from the first book, but definitely from the second book. I guess the biggest thing that I will say is that there wasn't as much introspection on Viv's part. The lessons that she learned in book 1 stuck, and she didn't really waver, at least not a lot. Not anything that was like where you were like concerned that she would, I guess, relapse, so to speak, to like old habits and ways of thinking and acting and stressful situations. It was in a new setting, which was really cool. So I really enjoyed it. I do think it was a little like it was very action heavy. I enjoy the revelations about things, and I'm really interested to see how they handle some of the challenges that came up at the end of the book in the third one. I think the biggest thing for me was that since you're getting a lot less introspection from Viv, that it just feels, I don't know if I would say rushed, maybe more like frenetic. Just like there's a sense of urgency that just wasn't present in the first one. In the author's note, she does say that she was writing this like as she was pregnant with her first child. I wonder if that's why it feels this way, is because she was kind of rushing to get things done and get things on paper. Hi, you're back. Oh, careful. There you go. There we go. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hi, baby. Hi. Yeah. This sweet boy. Okay, can you not do that on the embroidered part? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. do so, baby. What you doing? What you doing? Yeah. Okay. Should we tell the people about your purr? I did read several more hours of my audiobook, but I still had like 12 hours left of it going into Sunday. So definitely did not get that finished. I forgot how much I remembered of this. Like I think a lot of it kind of got jumbled and like the order in my brain was a little off. I definitely didn't remember all of the specifics. It is really nice to have that refresh, especially going into the 8th book. Oh, I can show you the Illumicrate book for February, which is Salt Swept. And this came on Friday. And it is very pretty. Through the edges, they're little octopus tentacles, and this is the hang on. This is the back of the book. So I did have a really good time filming this, but I do think I might skip March, or at least maybe just do like the middle of the month and just do like 2 weeks, just to make it a little bit easier for myself in terms of editing. I was trying to be good and like film and edit, and that didn't really happen. In order to just give myself a little bit of a buffer, I think I might, if I do end up vlogging in March, then I will do a shorter chunk of time. I guess what I should do is like do like 2 weeks and then have a video in between that's like more of a sit down video. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys had fun with the pony antics and the cat shenanigans, because there's no stopping either of those. I will see you guys next time. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. All right. I will see you guys in the next one. Hope you had a good reading month and that your March is off to a good start. Bye.